Good morning, everyone, and happy Tuesday.
Hey guys.
My name is Jessica Crombo, and we have Erik Hammond. Hi, Erik.
Hey, how are you today?
Good.
Good.
As you know, Erik is our partner, our social media partner. He owns a digital marketing company called Orange Stack, and we have the pleasure to have him once a month, every third Wednesday, every third Tuesday of the month. And today he's going to talk about social media content. If there is any topic in the future you want to talk about that are related to real estate, please let us know. Let us know. Send us a chat message or send me an email, and we will be happy to talk about it in the future. But let's go back to today with social media content. And Erik, let's talk about the calendar. What is a content calendar?
Yeah, that's a good question. I think the best way to think about a content calendar is a good way to stay organized. As real estate agents, we keep our lives on our phones, our calendars. We're always looking at it. We're trying to stay up to date. We're trying to remind us where to go and what to do. I think the nice thing about a content calendar is it'll remind you what to post next. Most agents and, well, really everybody that we talk to in life typically wakes up in the morning and says, hey, I haven't been on social media for a while. What should I post? What's going on today? Is there anything interesting I can talk about it? And they usually forget about it. So 3, 4, 5 days will go by and they haven't done anything with their followers. And so a content calendar is just a great way to stay organized. It's really just a plan to keep you on track so that you can kind of systematically post content to your sphere in a timely manner. It's going to be hard to see, which we have here, but we've kind of created a simple calendar here that talks about the weeks, Monday through Friday. And then down this side, we talk about the different social media platforms that you have. So if you think about kind of a great way to manage your schedule is to say, let me just start with kind of a post a day to keep it simple. You don't want to get overwhelmed and you don't want to kind of try to do too much at one time. So if you can just kind of schedule out like Monday and say, okay, today's Facebook day. Let me figure out what I'm going to post on Facebook and how am I going to reach that message to them. So really the point of the calendar is just to kind of keep yourself organized.
So what about scheduling ahead using a portal like Hootsuite or Postchrome to be more prepared when it comes to social media and not just be like instantly I wake up and I'm going to do my social media?
Yeah, and that takes a little bit of advanced planning. So you can't just wake up and say, what am I going to do today? That's the point of the calendar, is to kind of schedule it out. You want to be a week if you can in advance, if not a couple weeks out. We're typically planned out about 30 to 60 days on our calendar. And obviously you have to adapt and things change and stuff comes up. But for the most part, if you can kind of schedule out a week in advance, that way it's off your radar. If something happens today and I'm slammed and all these things come up in my day, I don't have to worry about it. My post happened. So there are apps like Hootsuite and Buffer and Postchrome. I never remember how to pronounce that. There's dozens of applications out there. If you basically just Google social marketing posting, it's going to help you find really a couple of good platforms to use. Most of these are free, and there's a couple that you can pay anywhere from $5 a month up to $100 a month to kind of help you manage your accounts. Some of them just work with a couple of different platforms like Facebook and Twitter, but a lot of them will cover multiple platforms at one time. So whether you want to post a video or a quote or a picture, something that's going to apply to your audience, you can kind of pre-schedule it out in these plans, and basically you're going to book out your calendar in advance. And so as soon as, let's say Tuesday at 10 a.m. happens, the system's going to post out whatever you put in the calendar that day. It's going to have your picture, it's going to have your hashtags, anything that you really scheduled out in the calendar. So it's really easy. It looks like it's coming from you. It doesn't look like it's coming from like a robot or something else. So it's whatever you decide to put in there.
So now let's talk about the content. I know from going to different marketing convention, they talk a lot about not selling yourself or not marketing yourself directly. What do you suggest when it comes to the content, and should we use the same content for every platform?
That's a great question too. Each platform was really designed for different strategies, how you talk to your audience in different ways. Take, for example, Facebook and Twitter. Twitter is limited to the characters that you can post, where Facebook, you could write a whole blog in one post and have as much characters as you want. I think there is a limit eventually, like 10,000. But you can post videos, you can put words, you can put pictures, anything that you want. Whereas Twitter is mostly pictures. Mostly text. They've added pictures and they've also started adding video just to kind of keep up with platforms. But then if you look at Pinterest, Pinterest is mostly about the photography. Same with Instagram. So how you speak to the audience really depends on who's there and who's listening. And so again, what you say in Facebook versus Twitter versus YouTube really matters. I'm going to run through a couple of these and kind of give you some examples. There's a great example I'd love to share with you, but we don't have the screen sharing set up today. But they talk about the example of a donut. And I'm going to use the donut example because most everybody likes a donut. It's easy to eat and they're kind of fun. So it says on Facebook, you can kind of give your status update of, I'm eating donuts today and I enjoy them and they're tasty, and you can kind of talk about that donut. On Twitter, it's kind of a short thing like, I like donuts. Something really simple. On YouTube, you might use the example of, here's how to make donuts, or here's how to have a bake sale and sell donuts. So you're kind of describing your video and showing the world these donuts and how they're made. On Pinterest, again, that's kind of a recipe website. Maybe you use that again to describe how you make a donut and the ingredients that go into it and where to buy the ingredients and kind of how it all comes together. Spotify is one that most people don't think about as a social media platform, but you could say, I'm listening to a donut remix right now. So maybe you have a podcast about donuts, or maybe you have a song about donuts on Spotify. Yelp, that's a great platform too that talks about reviews and things like that. Maybe you work with a company that wants to help promote your business on Yelp, and basically it's a great way to say, this is a great place to go buy donuts and enjoy donuts. So as you go through the different platforms, you can see you're going to talk to about the same kind of message, real estate, for example, or donuts, but you're going to share it in a different way and kind of speaking to that audience specifically.
Now, what about hashtags and links? I know when you create your content, you wonder sometimes, do I put a link? Do I not put a link? Do I put a hashtag? How many hashtags? Can you tell me a little bit about that?
They change a lot. So whatever I say today is probably going to be outdated by tomorrow. But hashtags are a great way. Instagram was really the culprit of the hashtag. It's a great place where it started. You can post up to, I think, 30 hashtags right now on Instagram. And the beauty of Instagram is that you can search by them too. So if I put hashtag real estate or hashtag San Diego real estate, or maybe a specific neighborhood, you can search for that and find out how many posts there have been about that specific hashtag. Going back to donut, if you type in hashtag donut, there's millions of posts about donuts on Instagram. But if you have something very specific, like Erik's Real Estate, my name, there's probably not a whole lot of hashtag Erik Real Estates out there. So maybe that's a hashtag brand that I kind of want to run with and take. So think about that, is you want to come up with a hashtag that's probably viral for your marketing, and you want to have something that you can use in all your marketing that's generic enough to cover your brand and what you do, but not so specific that it only applies to certain parts of it. You can use hashtags on Facebook, but you can't search by them. So that's kind of a great way to draw attention to it. You can use hashtags on Twitter, but again, Instagram is that place really that's going to make the most sense to it. A lot of platforms allow links to other sites, like Facebook lets you link out to other platforms like YouTube and Twitter and things like that. But then there's other platforms that don't allow that link sharing. So you got to be kind of careful where you post, what you're going to put out there.
What about managing your content? It takes so much time to create your social media content. Do you suggest, and if we're all in real estate, we know that management is like the foundation of real estate. You need to have proper management. Should we add social media time to create the content 2-3 times a week? I would even say like an hour 2-3 times a week. How do we manage that?
Yeah. So you can kind of think about that in different ways. Number one is getting your content out there and trying to share it with the world so that you can be consistent, right? So if you're going to do a show like this, we do this every Tuesday at 10 a.m. Pacific. So you know where to find this show. It's always going to be at the same time. You don't have to guess when Jessica's going to be online sharing great information with you guys. If every day we woke up and said, hey, let's go live today, or maybe tomorrow, you guys would never show up to watch it. So you have to be consistent on some of your stuff. If you're going to have, inspirational quotes and pictures of houses and things like that, you kind of got to mix it into your schedule. So block out the big things like video content or shows like this. I definitely encourage, if you're not on a social media channel, to have something like a live show where you can reach out to your clients and people that follow you and help them recognize you and see your face on a consistent basis. But then weave into it the little things, the Pinterest posts and the Instagram video or photos of sunsets and houses and kitchens and baths and things that are interesting to your people. Have quotes on Twitter that are interesting. So some platforms you're only going to want to post maybe once or twice a week. Like, you don't want to go live every single day. It's a little bit of an overwhelming on your end, and your audience probably isn't going to be able to keep up and watch all that content as well. But you might put out 3 or 4 tweets a day, and that's okay, because tweets get lost in the mix. Some people will catch 1 or 2. Some people might not see any of them depending on their frequency on that platform. But the important part is you're there, you're sharing it, you're in different places at the same time. So That was the first part of the question. The second part was, how do you schedule it or
Managing it.
managing it? Yeah. And so again, it goes back to that calendar and mapping it out and when you're going to do it. But then also saying, okay, maybe it's the morning and I'm feeling inspired to talk about this morning. So I want to get on my podium, get on my phone, text my little thing, talk about whatever it is today. Maybe there's an event that happened that day that you want to post about. The other day, tragically, there's a big train wreck up in Washington near where my family lives. And obviously I had to check in and make sure that everybody was okay. But after that, it's like my heart goes out to the people and I can comment on that. If I just had a generic post that went out that day, it looks like I don't listen and I don't pay attention to what's going on in the news. So you kind of have to be able to react and respond to what's going on live, but also be able to share content that's relevant to what's going on just generally about your business too.
So you need to have some content that is prepared well in advance, but also things that are in the moment.
Yeah.
What's happening day by day. Now, when it comes to a social media portal, when you don't do social media every day, if you start tomorrow, what are the top 3 portal a real estate agent should use right now?
Yes, great question. So that really depends on who you speak to. If you're a millennial and most of your clients are in their 20 to 40s, you got to know where they are. If you're 56 years old and most of your clients are 40 to 70 years old, you got to know where they are. You have to speak to your audience and know where they are. You got to know the age of the platform that you're speaking to. Right now, Snapchat is like 12 to 25 years old. There's my mom who's on there who's 70, which good for her. And there's, all the teenagers on there as well. So you got to know how to speak to them. Facebook is typically a 35 to 70-year-old demographic. Instagram is a 25 to 40-year-old demographic. YouTube covers everything. You've got little kids playing video games on there, and you've got Martha Stewart making cookies. So you got everything in between, and you got to know how to speak to them on that platform. But no, if you're going to be on that platform, how to speak to them and how to make it interesting. What you don't want to do is record something on your phone, like a video, and try to bump that out to every single platform. Number one, because some platforms look like this, and some platforms look like this, and some are square, and some are rectangle. They're all different. You can't just one and done it all. You have to make it specific to that platform. But one I would recommend, because it's the easiest to reach the largest demographic, is Facebook. Facebook is the best place to start because it allows the most versatile for advertising. It helps you find new clients to work with. It's the easiest way to spend money. Facebook knows the most about their audience. It knows what they're interested in. It knows that you ride motorcycles, that you're 30 years old, that you live in this area, that you spend this much money on doing these things. It knows everything about you. It's kind of creepy, but it's a great way to advertise. Instagram is the easiest way to convert people. So if you do have a following on Instagram and you're trying to build more of an audience, it's easy to share something and get a couple repeat followers just from a simple post on there. So definitely Facebook, definitely Instagram, and I would think Snapchat would be something that you'd want to play with just because it's getting older every day. By the end of next year, I would think up to 40-year-olds are pretty going to be constant on there.
Wow. Now, when we talk about content, we also talk about video content. And I know a lot of real estate agents, they just care to just push that button and go live or record themselves. How is the impact from posting just a text and having a live video? What is the different impact from each side of it?
Good question. I actually just taught a class yesterday on the benefits of going on Facebook Live and what it can do. So there's a whole bunch of algorithms, and without getting into the very technical part of how the platform works, the organic reach is hard to come by because Facebook and all these platforms are trying to make money. They want you to spend money on their platform so that you can reach new audiences. And so if I just simply post something, only about 6% of the followers that follow me see it. So if I have 100 followers, 6 people would see it. That's it. If I pay Facebook to show it to people, it's going to show it to everybody that I put into that bucket and say, send this content to it. Other platforms are different because they're still new and they're trying to get their feet off the ground. But generally, if you're on Facebook and you're posting something, it's hard to find those new followers. So the hardest one to reach people is text. Number one, because people are kind of getting lazy and they're having a hard time reading and they just want to scroll through and look at pretty pictures and watch. That's what these social platforms have done to us. They make us lazy, really. And so posting a photo is kind of the next one to kind of capture people's attention because you can get something interesting in there and you're going to hopefully hook them for a second. But video is the most interesting because every second it's a new image on your screen. So if you're going through a house and you're showing the kitchen and you're showing the view and you're showing everybody what you get in that house, people are going to wonder what's around the corner, what's next, what does the backyard look like, what does that pool look like? You're keeping them engaged, and that's the point. the longer the view and the longer the engagement that you have on these social platforms, the more Facebook says, this is really interesting content. We want to share this with people. If you have a post and everybody who sees that skims right past it, nobody looks at it, they're not going to show it to that many people. But if you have a video of a cat or something that's funny, it's going to go viral and 1 million people are going to watch it, and more people are going to see it because Facebook puts it in front of them organically. So video is best. Facebook Live video is even better because, again, organically, as soon as you go live like we're doing right now on this platform, everybody that follows this channel gets a notification from Facebook. Hey, come and watch Jessica. She's live right now. You want to see this because you follow her. And the cool thing about it, too, is anybody that comments on the side of this video, now everybody that follows you is going to see this video, too. So it has a great virality availability to it.
Thank you, Erik.
Yeah.
I don't have any more questions.
Okay.
Any last tips you want to give to all our real estate agents?
I have one tip, and this is a big one. So again, a lot of people struggle with, what do I say? How do I start? How do I get going? You just got to follow the conversation. So start joining some groups, start just putting yourself out there, start listening. You know, you got 2 ears and 1 mouth. Start listening more than you're speaking. I know a lot of people would want to just dump all their content and be the expert of everything that they do, which is great. But sometimes you just have to go listen. So find community groups where you live. Find things that you're interested in. You know, if you have a car passion, or you like to camp, or you like to be outdoors, you like to do something, follow groups that have these things that you can be a part of and comment on these hobbies that you have. And then when people start talking about real estate, start talking. The other day, I was in a forum the other day because I like Volkswagen buses. I'm a big passion of cars. And somebody was talking about how they ran out of room for all their cars. And so now they're parking it outside. These things are 50-year-old vehicles that you don't want rust and snow and everything else on. So what a great opportunity for me to pipe up and say, hey, would you like to look at houses with bigger garages? There's this new neighborhood. They're starting to build 4-car garages. This might be a great opportunity for you to move. If you just listen, the opportunity is going to come up for you. So I would definitely encourage you to find groups, follow along with the conversation, pipe in when necessary, and just be there and be ready for that conversation. And because you're part of the group, they're going to trust you and they're going to like you. If you just came in and say, hey, everyone, buy real estate. It's on sale right now. It's a great time to buy. They're not going to listen to you. So that's my quick plug.
Build relationship, bring value, be yourself.
Yeah.
That's a big one in
Definitely.
social media.
Yeah.
Well, thank you very much, Erik, for being here.
You bet.
If you have any question for Erik, we put all his information on this post. He also offers a free
Yeah, we have a PDF actually. Well, I was going to say that too. We have a PDF of this calendar, which is going to help you kind of schedule out what you're going to talk about. And I came up with 111 catchy blog titles. So it kind of helps you create an interesting way to start your post and your topic, and just gives you all sorts of interesting things to talk about. And so if you want to set up a time to talk with us, there's a link in the description. That's basically our calendar website. So you can book a 30-minute consultation with us. Just talk about your marketing, see what's going on, see how we can help you. Again, we're a social media agency. We help real estate agents build their brand on their social media. We help you guys convert your ROI and get more leads to this platform, because most of you have hundreds of followers that you're not taking advantage of. So let's talk to them, help get you in front of more people, and close more deals.
Thank you, Erik.
Yeah.
Next week, we will not have Broadcast Tuesday because it's Christmas, but see you the first week of January, and we will talk about mortgage, the difference between pre-approval and pre-qualification. Thank you, everyone. Have a good year, and see you next year. Bye-bye.
Thanks.